Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Indie Understudy stream where we shine the spotlight on lesser known or indie TTRPG games. Tonight is going to be a little bit of a cozier than usual stream. It's just going to be me and you sharing these moments together. I don't know about you, but as much as I love my friends, I still sometimes need a bit of alone time, time to think, time to reflect, time to read and write and figure out what I want and who I'm becoming. Life, in my opinion, is better shared, but the main person you're sharing it with is ourselves. And as much as I do absolutely sometimes just stare blankly at the wall, it is also good to have other things to do. If you, like me, love telling stories and the vast world of single player narrative games might be for you. Uh, I turn to these kinds of games for building complex character with interesting motivations, to get my mind off what's happening around me for a while, or sometimes to delve even deeper into that and find through the story some pieces of myself that were missing. So I would be honored if you grabbed some pen and paper and follow along with me tonight. Uh, so I have two games I want to share with you tonight. The first one is called Orizuru, a half-formed thing, and it's an interesting game because it's based on origami as a mechanic, which I think is fun and interesting. I'm going to put some background music for us, just so there's something else there than my voice. And if you want to grab a piece of paper uh, and follow with me, that would be fun. So this game is a bit of based around the concept of a Kafkian transformation. The idea is you're turning literally or metaphorically into a bird, which is an interesting concept. So the first thing we have to choose is what's going to be our canvas. Our canvas is basically our setting. What is the world this character lives in? Um, if you're in the chat and you want to share some ideas for this, I'll be more than happy to. Hear them, but if not, I've been playing with the idea of the canvas being something like um, some sort of society where people go into a hermit kind of phase so they can figure out something about themselves and transform. It's common in some tribal societies for shamanic rituals and things like that. So I think my canvas is going to be you know what? One of my favorite writers is Hermann Hesse. He's a German writer, and he wrote a book about um, Siddhartha, one of the incarnations of the Buddha, and what his transformation to get to ascend as a Buddha. So I'm thinking something around those lines. Um, and the next thing we need to choose is what's our medium going to be. The medium is how this transformation happens. If this was like a traditional medieval fantasy canvas, our medium could be magic. What's important is the medium can be something common or something easy to do. Uh, it has to be costly and painful in some way. Um, so I'm thinking my medium, because we're going for the hermit ritual thing, is going to be isolation. So we know this transformation, this reshaping is something that will happen with just this character. Um, so this game is played on four stages. The first stage is the unshaping, and it has six folds. It has four folds, and each fold is going to be a scene that the character walks through. So, what would be the first scene for this character? What do we want to do? Oh, I'm also going to use a different color pen for each section of the game, each stage of the game, because I think it will be interesting in the end to see what ends up being visible in the final crane that we follow. So I'm going to say the first scene for this character is making the trek towards their cave, where they're going to spend an unknown amount of time on their own. So I just wrote, I trek towards my cave, the solitude feeling peaceful. That's my first scene. With that, I'll make the first bowl. Oh, I almost forgot. I'll put in the chat the link to the game. Pin it to the top. Uh, and I'll also put in the chat the link to our Discord. Thanks, Kat. So you can go. I'll post the final result there, so you can come watch it, come see how it turns out. So our hermit that's going through the transformation has made it to the cave. Um, the prompt for this whole section is, what do you dislike about yourself? So I think we need to go into that. Is, what does this character dislike about themselves? What are they trying to change? Why are they going through this transformation? Do they feel powerless? I think that could be interesting. Them feeling powerless, like they have to go through this, or what's the consequences if they don't? So let's go with powerless. Hi, Hills. Love you too. So they're alone in a cave feeling powerless. What else don't they like about themselves? What else made them come to this point and decide to do this? you have any ideas, I'm happy to hear them. Feelings might be overwhelming them. Oh, interesting. So they're feeling powerless and overwhelmed, so they decide to take a step back and contemplate. So let's go with life became too much. So I decided to step away. Powerless and overwhelmed is the name of my next correspondent. Yes. I should have grabbed my folding tool, but it's too late. Okay. What else they don't like about themselves? Is the track to the cave easy or is it difficult? Is retreating a relief? I think that could be interesting. Let's go with that. Let's go with them finding relief, and then we can make things difficult for them when the solitude starts setting in. Let's go with that was hard, but the exert of effort felt peaceful. And that's the end of our first stage. So that's unshaping. I'm going to skip this song because it's not going with me. Hi, Brian. Happy to have you lurking. Lurkers are more than welcome. So the next stage is called Unmaking, and the general prompt for it is, what do you hope you will become? What do they hope they would become? I think they are hoping they will become the word I keep coming on with is steady, but I don't know if that's the right word. Stronger could be a thing. I'm thinking something more along the lines of resilient or adaptable. So it's their first few days in that cave. It's the first few days in that cave. The solitude and the weight of it is starting to settle in. they know that this is part of the process. This is part of the pain they need to go through to become more resilient. So I'll write solitude starts to weigh what I needed to become resilient. What should happen next? Something. They're alone in a cave. How are they feeding themselves? Are they hunting? Are they gathering? Oh, I know. The food they brought with them starts to run out. So they need to get out and gather. How does that relate to who they hope they will become? I think that going with the our theme, because I love alliteration. I think I'm going to go with resourceful. So I'll write food is running low. I must be resourceful. Resourceful. I like self-sufficient. I do. But I want to save it for a little bit later. Hmm. So they have food figured out. Do they find some kind of company entertainment? How do they pass time? I think self-sufficient could be related to that, to passing time. Oh, they could begin weaving, like weaving baskets and stuff, making their space more comfortable. Like that. So, I'll say decorating is always an option, yes. Found some reeds. So to weave. What's next in this journey? What else do they hope they will become? A resilient, resourceful, self-sufficient. I would say the next thing I would go for is adaptable. I feel like to survive in isolation, you have to be adaptable to whatever happens around you. So, what is happening around them? Maybe a season change? Like they're gathering in spring or summer or fall, or winter is very different. Fall time. Okay. So let's fold. Let's say leaves are changing. And with them, so must I. Okay, next scene. It's full. They set up their space somehow. They found a way to survive. They're adapting to change. What's some danger they could encounter that will make them confront who they are and who they want to be? It could be physical danger, like a bear, not to be cliche, but it could also be, of course, bear. But it could also be like metaphorical danger, a danger to their transformation process. Maybe the temptation of hearing people nearby and wanting to break their isolation. I think that's interesting. Like the temptation of letting it all go, and deciding to stick with it. So I'm going to write. I can hear them. But it's not time yet. Okay. What else could happen? Make them face the hope of what they want to become. This is absolutely me projecting into this character, but patience is really something you need to spend any time in nature. So, what can they become impatient with? Maybe they set up traps in the woods, or they're trying to learn something, teach themselves something. What like that? What could they be trying to learn? Like a manual physical skill. Set up traps. Yes, learn to hunt. I have a funny thing. I'm going to write. I wish it was more patient than the rabbit. I think that's funny. That made me laugh. What more trouble can we make for this character? To make them hope for what they will become. Hmm. Maybe something relating to listening or to being present in the moment. Maybe another season change. Make it winter. Oh, are they missing someone? Is there someone they miss? Winter is scary. Winter in the woods is really scary. So I'm going to keep it vague but evocative. And I'm going and kind of sad because this is just the person I am. And I'm going to say, um, I wish I could hear your voice over the hush of snow. So there's someone they miss, and winter is lonely. I don't know if you can see that, but how it's slowly becoming completely covered in scratch. It's winter, they are missing someone. We don't know who that someone is. They're feeling the loneliness over the hush of winter and the quiet. talk about the hush of winter and the sound of their voice and hearing people in the distance. But they haven't really been talking to anyone. We'll get to the mysterious person eventually. But I think I have an interesting idea that is they're starting to forget how their own voice sounds. Am I doing this right? Yeah. So they're starting to forget the sound of their own voice. Let's go back to the mysterious person. Let's say I wonder if you still think about me. What else do they fear they will lose? How attached have they become to their cave by this point? Do they fear to lose this home like they had to leave their last at all? Oh, trust. Trust is interesting. They didn't strike me as a very trusting person in the beginning. So maybe they're afraid of becoming so self-reliant that they don't know how to trust anymore. Like, how will they react to being around people again? Mhm. Maybe they hear voices again coming towards them, and they don't feel the temptation anymore of going towards the voices. They realize they have become so used to their solitude that they don't really want it, and that company, they don't need it. But maybe they will come to want it again. I feel like before they went into this journey, they needed it, but they didn't want it because they were overwhelmed. And now they don't need it, but maybe they're working towards wanting it. I like that. And I will write that down for the next fold before I forget it, because it was too cool. I'm gonna write, I used to need them, but not want them. Now I don't need them. Will I want them? There are 2 folds left for the remaking. Oh no, there are 4 folds left for the remaking. We got a almost completely blank slate for this one. I want to go back to that feeling of homesickness. Maybe the start to question if what's required of them is to always give up the spaces they built for themselves. Like they were required to give up their previous home. Like they know they will have to give up their cave eventually. They have to resurface. Oh, they left something at home. And that home no longer exists. What could have they left behind? I like that idea. A memento of some kind? An heirloom, a childhood memory, a trinket that meant a lot. Is this trinket like something from their childhood? Is this trinket something someone, or maybe this mysterious them, gave to this person? Oh, someone who was young when they left. I would be a different person now. How the world kept turning without them, in a way. I have a lot of space to write for this one, so I'm going to go do Telemachus situation, yes. I wonder how tall you are now. What books you read? What makes you laugh? What makes you sigh? I love how like using a different color for every stage means you get like the peaks of all the different colors over the crane. I'm getting sad over this character that I'm just creating. Why am I like this? I don't know, but I always do the same. Three folds left. Three more things they're afraid to lose. And I'll say they know this is a journey of letting go. That's part of the path to ascension, to become free, to let go of what's here, of what was, and stay in what is. But it's also something heavy to carry, that knowledge, that certainty. So I'm going to say it can feel underwhelming also to think that this is all there is. Is this all there is? Am I just giving up and getting nothing in return? I don't know if you can relate to this, but for me, like every time I've had gone through a big transformation in my life, that moment of letting go of who I was, of what I was, and not knowing what's coming next is absolutely terrifying. And it feels like jumping into the void in the best and worst possible way. Two folds left. Two more things they're afraid to lose. Oh. Would they lose themselves when they finally come back? Lose themselves in others. Yes. I'm going to write that down as where do I end and you begin. Last one. Last thing they're afraid to lose. So what I have visible here, I know it's hard to pick up on camera, is I wonder if you still think about and how we all feel around people now. I also have the rabbit phrase from the beginning. I want to be more patient at the rabbit. And going back to how they feel around people, I think they have a sense of calm now that they didn't before. And they might be afraid to lose that. Um, so I feel like they might be wondering if that sense of calm is fearing of not being able to keep what they learned. Yes. How do I write that down? Is this growth rooted to the soil? Made like that. And we are onto our final stage of this transformation. And that's the reshaping. And the prompt for this stage is, what do you discover about yourself? So what does this character that has been isolating for a long time has discovered about themselves? With all those things they wished in the beginning. What I can see from this point is there's just now and now and now in me. I have another, that's here. I have another me here. And some space over here. I have enough. Don't we all need that little affirmation? But I like it. I'll put it right here. Let's go for the next one. What else have they discovered about themselves? feel like they've discovered that this was always within them. They just needed the right context for it to come out. So I like the affirmation concept for this last stage. So the first one was I am enough. I'm going to make the second one I was always this. We have three 3/4 more folds. What else have they discovered? They are enough. They always were. Alone doesn't mean lonely. I'm going to put that down because I like the affirmation thing that start with I am or I was. Is I am great company. And coming back to the concept we talked in the beginning about resilience and about adaptability. How could they see that in themselves now? I'm going to say I am capable. Head is a little crazy. And just because I like the irony of putting this on the head, I'm going to put I see myself. This is the final fold. What do we want the last thing they discover about themselves to be? What have they learned about their relationship to this mysterious person that they missed, that they were wondering about? Do we want to make this really, really bittersweet in the end? going to say yes. And I'm going to say, even if you didn't wait, you'll always be with me. And that's the end of our little run of Oizuru, a half-formed thing. Their little crane, all folded up, all written on. I'll take some nice pictures of it and upload it to the Discord. One of the things I love about these kinds of games is you could really use them as a character creation tool. If you're building a character for a campaign or something and you want to build something that has substance to it. I've used them to build NPCs for my campaigns too. It's just like a fun way to really get into it and get into the flow of it and getting to know a character you're maybe not completely familiar with, or you're trying to understand who they are. I think it's a really neat way of doing it. So this was Orizu, our half-formed thing by Mark Shepard. You have the link pinned and it's on the chat if you want to get a copy. It's pay what you want on itch, so I would really recommend getting it and giving some love to the creator. And yeah, it is a great way to build NPCs, especially if you have to build an NPC you don't really empathize with, or that's very different from yourself. It's a way to get like little prompts and little ways to make it happen. So that was the first game I had for you tonight. I have a second one. So this was. I'll show you. Can you see it? Yeah, that's the cover. It's upside down. Or is it a headphone thing? I've played through this before, and I always find it interesting. For some reason, for me, it always ends up being bittersweet. I think like transformations usually are bittersweet in some way. But it's always interesting and really depends a lot on your canvas and your medium, the character you end up creating. So up next, this is a game I haven't played yet, but I've heard amazing things about. We were talking about it earlier today in the Discord, and it's Enemesis. Enemesis is written by Sam Lee. Sam Lee, if you've spent any time on TikTok on Indie TTRPG, TikTok is Sam Lee is known there as Goblin Mixtape. They make amazing content, so if you don't know them, check them out. And they published this game a couple of years ago. I bought it at the time and then forgot I had it. This is something that happens to me very frequently because I have way too many games. But Amnesis, the idea behind it is you wake up with no memories. It's a journaling and tarot game. So you wake up with no memories and you get prompts based on the cards you pull. Um, so there's also 4 parts, 4 acts to this one. So let's start and figure out what are we going to get into. Oh, I'm going to drop the link in the chat um, for this one too. There you have it, pinned in chat. We're using the Marigold Tarot, the one I've been using for the last, I don't know, 4 years. I really need a new deck. I've been looking at getting a new deck. But the first thing we need to do is pull a major arcana for this character. This major arcana represents the person they used to be before they lost their memory. So, who did this person used to be? That's the magician. I'm going to go very literal with this, and I'm going to say they were a magician. Um, I feel like we have to decide if that magician it was like an illusionist kind of magician or a D&D kind of wizard magician. Uh, we went low magic for the last one. Let's go high magic for this one. Sleight of hand. Oh well. Who am I to say no to chat? Uh, oh, sleight of hand. Maybe it was something because the magician is the second card of the tarot if you take the fool as the first. And it's very much about being centered in your own power. Like if you see on this representation, they are like holding something to their chest. So it's a very self-centered on the self card. So I'm going to say I can't remember the name of this movie. The movie that's like 4 magicians coming together to do heists. They call themselves the 4 Horsemen. Can't remember for the life of me. Brian, if you're still on chat, I know you remember the name of this movie. Please save me. But there's one of the characters that is a sleight of hand magician that does close-up magic, and they also like do pickpocketing. Now You See Me, yes, thanks. That's the movie I'm thinking about. So I'm thinking about the close-up magician from Now You See Me that's also does pickpocketing. So they were street performer slash lowlife. Oh my god! Sam is here. I was just saying nice things about you. Yes, it's an excellent movie. Everyone go follow Sam. They're amazing. So yes, this character, they were. Let me say, I was. A fast finger. Survivor. I. Fast finger survivor. I use my charm and my wit as weapons. I like that. Okay, let's go into our first act. The setup for the first act is you wake up in an unfamiliar place, seemingly within a town or a city. You cannot remember who you are or why you're here. All you know for certain is that you're not in your home. And we have to draw 3 cards from the deck of pentacles. In this deck, that's the marigold. The deck of pentacles is actually called the deck of rings. So let's draw our 3 cards. What's terrifying? My deck? My deck is not terrifying. My deck is lovely. Don't say bad things about it. Yes, it's gorgeous. It's the marigold deck. Okay. I'm going to pull our 3 cards face down. And depending on what we get, we're going to get a different prompt from each one. And I will draw a major arcana to help us come up with something. So Act 1. What's our first prompt? The Ten of Rings. Our prompt is, when you focus, you can grasp the edges of a hazy memory from just before you fell unconscious. What do you remember? Let's see what major arcana we get to go along with this. Oops. Ho 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 ho. Hi lovers. Who was I with when I fell unconscious? So he's clearly not hanging out in the right parts of town. I open my eyes. The last images of something like a dream. Fading past. I try to palm them. So palm is a sleight of hand move. Like, I don't have anything small at hand. Why do I have anything small at hand? But it's basically when you hide something in your hand and make it look relaxed. That's a palm. It's like a way to hide sleight of hand. My partner had a sleight of hand period in his life, so I know something about this. So I open my eyes, the last images of something like a dream fading fast. I try to palm them, but all I can recall is half smirking face. And their arms tightening around me. That's going to be the answer to our first prompt. You are going back to the deck. So the second prompt for the first act is the Eight of Rings. That's your hand closes around a memento in your pocket. What is this memento and how does that make you feel? Are you kidding me? Again. I'm going to pull a second one. Just, okay. We have the Lovers and the Empress. So whoever this person was that was smirking and tightening their arms around me as I went down, I feel like the memento is also connected to them in some way. So I like that on this deck, there's one of the lovers is holding like some flowers. I don't know if you can see that. I would like something flower shaped. How does the Empress come into this? A wedding ring, yeah. Oh, yes. So. I search my pockets. Trying to find something familiar. They're empty. Except for a wedding ring. With a fleur-de-lis engraved inside. How does that make me feel? My heart races. But I can't remember why. What's the final prompt for Act 1? Two of Rings. You look down at the clothes on your body. What are you wearing? How do you feel about the way you look? Let's see what's the major arcana that goes with it. The sun. So what am I wearing? If it was lovers again, I was going to yell, me too. But you know what? This deck has that tendency with me. Like, it likes to repeat cards a lot. I've pulled the same card consistently from this deck for a week sometimes. It's just what it likes to do. It has very clear messages that it will just drop on your head over and over again until you get it. Um, the sun. The clothes are bright. Clothes are bright. Yellow. I don't like yellow. Looking down, I can see bright yellow trousers and yellow slippers. I've been talking for an hour and a half without drinking water. How does that make you feel? How do you feel about the way you look? I don't like it, but why I don't like it? Hmm. I feel like I shouldn't stand out as much. Like, I want to blend in better. That's the end of Act 1. Let's move over to Act 2. So, Act 2, we're going back. The sun is going back to our major arcana deck. And Act 2 is the deck of swords. And what it says is, after getting your bearings, you walk around town. You know this town, you know it well, but you cannot remember it. Let's draw our 3 cards from the deck of swords. 1, 2, 3. Our first prompt from the deck of swords, the 8 of swords. The prompt is, you pass a place of worship. What is this place and how do you feel when you look upon it? major arcana that goes with it is the Emperor. This might just be our the current Monster Hearts game I'm playing with. But I'm going to say I walk by a mega church and I can hear the pastor preaching from inside. Rip. I start wondering. The city might be seemingly taking me through familiar paths. On their own. I don't know if this is common in other parts of the world, but in Buenos Aires, where I'm from, especially, megachurch have taken over a lot of old cinemas. So it's really common to see a cinema reconverted into an evangelic megachurch. So I'm going to take some inspiration about that because I do love my city and I love working it into different things. Oh yes. Buenos Aires used to have a ton of little cinemas with just one or two screens, and most of them are churches now, like evangelic churches. Uh, so I would say I walk past what seems to be an old cinema, and I can hear the steady cadence of preaching coming from inside. And the final part of this is, how do you feel when you look up on it? And I am going to say I feel appalled because I like movies much more than I like preaching. It's a shame to see the wonders of the silver screen being replaced by fanatic peddling. And that was just the first card of Act 2. The second card we get for Act 2 is the Nine of Swords. And it says, someone is having an argument in the street. Does this remind you of an argument you've had? And we get the Hierophant. There's an argument on the street. That reminds me of an argument I've had. And we already talked about churches, and we get the Hierophant, so in this deck, the Hierophant is in a particularly preachy position, I feel like. I'm going to say every time I think of night markers, I think about food, though, so I'm going to start just with the smells of food. The smells of food take me toward a night market. My bride. Clothing fields. Like too much. Under the electric lights. So I make my way. To the outskirts. Where it's dimmer. What kind of style do they are drawn to? Could it be another trinket style, maybe? So this is the end of Act 2. What do we want to find at the end of Act 2? We are halfway there. Oh, maybe they run across another swindler. Like someone else doing sleight of hand. Like cock and ball or something like that. Yes. I catch myself. Just before running into a small table. Man standing behind it. Doesn't seem too happy about it. When I almost knocked to the floor. Three cups. And a pebble. And that's the end of Act 2. Let's go into Act 3. You manage to find your home. Act 3 is cups. Deck of cups. And it says, you managed to find your home. The facade is unfamiliar. You fish the key out of your pocket and open the door. Let's draw 3 cards from the deck of cups. So, where is home? The first prompt we get is the Page of Cups. And the prompt is, there is a dent in one of your walls. What happened here? Oh, judgment is the major arcana. That goes with it. Big fight through something. Yes, definitely. Um, my feet keep pulling me along. Eventually, taking me to the third floor apartment of a rundown building. I feel for the light switch. Coming across a dent on the wall. Instead, the memory of what's the object that was thrown here. It has to be something solid to dent the wall. A tiny statue, but it's heavy. We have judgment. So I would say statue of what? Judgment or the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is also sometimes related to creativity, so I'm gonna say it's a statue of a Greek muse, just because. Of a tiny Greek muse. Impacting against the wall. Comes and goes in a flash. And I'm blinded by it before I can make sense of what it meant, of what it means. Prompt number 2 for Act 3 is the Two of Cups. There are signs that someone else stays here, or at least used to stay here. Who is or was this person? I refuse to say yes to my dad because I just pulled judgment again, and we are not doing that. Lovers, again. I told you this is a stubborn deck. This is a very stubborn deck. It refuses to do anything but what it wants to do. But I already say no to one of them. So whoever stayed or used to stay here is the same person we remember in that first memory. How do we know that? Are there clothes? Are there... This is a love story, absolutely. I can't escape them. I'm just a hopeless romantic. There's just no way around it. Could it be scent? I feel like the scent of someone is really a strong way to remember them. I say a sweet smell. Comforts me. The smell of home. Of them. I can see their face again. Their half smirk. I can almost feel their embrace again. The last prompt for Act 3 is the 10 of Cups. You open a drawer to find a journal. What does the final page say? The star. So the star is very linked to innovation in the future. And for me, it's quite a hopeful card. It's always been. Maybe because I relate to it, because I'm named after a star, after all. So whatever we find in the last page of this journal is future facing. And it's somewhat hopeful. So my question is this my journal or this other person's journal. If it's more interesting, if it's their journal. I mean, it's always good narrative to read other people's journals. Not in real life. Don't do that in real life. After the fight, conclusion. I'm thinking something about along the lines of I know things didn't end well, but I've had time to think about it. And if I could have him back, I would. Or something to that effect. I stumble across rooms that are half familiar, half forgotten. I sit down on a bed I know used to be mine. And open the drawer of the bedside table. To find a small notebook. I turn to the last page. Recognizing their handwriting. They're black over white. It reads, I know things didn't end well between us, but watching them faint in my arms made me realize I would do it all over again if I could. And that's the end of Act 3. We have one final act and then our epilogue. I'm literally screaming too, don't worry. You can scream in chat if you want to. So Act 4. You've learned much about yourself. take some time to reflect. Draw 3 cards from the deck of wands. Two and 3. So our first prompt is the 3 of wands. There's somewhere in town that beacons you. Which place is this? Do you travel there? And the card that just decided to jump out of my deck is the Fool. So I think we definitely travel there. And just because we ended the last act with the journaling hand, I'm going to say that some sort of business card falls out of it. What is this place? Where are they going? Do we want to go with a cliche and make them go to a magic shop? A bookshop? Coffee store? Bar? The bar seems right. Do bars have business cards? Bars have flyers. That seems better. I'm going to say flyer or local type bar falls from between the pages of the journal. And I know that's where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to wait to get them there, like to get him there. To see what happens next, so I can connect the scenes correctly. The second card is the Knight of Wands. A memory comes back that you would rather forget. Which memory is this, and why does it bother you? I think there's only one correct answer for this, and it's he remembers the fight. He fully remembers the fight. And it bothers him because he knows he did not put his best foot forward. And yes, this is a beautiful card. So let's pull our Major Arcana for that one. I pulled the Hierophant. Again, I refuse to. I pulled the Moon. Again, I refuse to. Okay, now we're talking. The Chariot. And if you can see, the Chariot in this deck is actually a bicycle. So I think we know how he's getting to that dive bar. He's getting to the dive bar on a bicycle. Um, so that's where I'm supposed to be. I leave through the back door. And find my bike. My bicycle. Waiting for me there. My faithful chariot. Because, yeah, can't help it. While I ride, more details keep coming back to me. That last argument. How I lost my temper. All the things I said and didn't really mean. I just realized I used the prompt from the king and not the knight. But I like it, so I'm not taking it back. As Bob Ross would say, happy accidents. The last card is the Eight of Wands. And as exhausted, you lay down to sleep. What do you dream about? I feel like before that, we need to figure out what happens at this bar before he lays down to sleep. So of course, he's going to run to their lover, his lover, at this bar. So I'm going to say I stumble in. Disoriented. Now, not because of what? I don't know. But because of the certainty of what I do. Most people don't notice. One more person coming in this late at night. But lone figure sitting down at the bar. Does. What's their reaction to seeing him again? I think they would be shocked first, stunned. But after that, are they happy? Maybe. Shock gives way to his soft smile, and they echo me forward. Okay, let's see what Major Arcana goes with going to sleep. Oh yes, it's really filling up, like, it's 2.5 pages already. That's the devil. That's a nice twist. I was not expecting that. So, exhausted, you lay down to sleep. What do you dream about? So, what I'm thinking about for this story is we know they were together. We know I know a knife in the bag is already a metaphor, but what's another metaphor for a knife in the bag? I got it. Their arms around me, not caring, but constricting. And we come to Act 5. Act 5 is the epilogue. And it reads, your past may shape your experiences, your thoughts, your desires, but it does not define you. You're in control of your own path. The road ahead might be built from the stones that you've gathered, but these fragments of your past do not dictate where it leads. It's time to move forward. Return your shadow to the Major Arcana deck. And choose one of the Major Arcana to represent your present self. Do not draw from the deck. Choose freely among the cards. You're in charge of your own identity. Who are you and what do you do next? So who am I now? I feel like I have to. I feel like if we want to go fully noir, there's only one way to go, and that is death. The tower could also be an interesting one. Not the hermit, not the hangman, not the wheel of fortune. Not justice. I like the tower, so let's go with tower. Also, I write my epilogue saying, oh yes, I'm going to connect it to something we wrote back. Maybe this was a blessing. A way to have an actual new beginning. Maybe my salvation. Lies in bringing everything down with me. That was fun, guys. That was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. I also feel like this is the setting for a Blades in the Dark one shot, so if I ever GM Blades in the Dark for Indie Understudy, I may bring this back. So yeah, that was an amazing game. If you're still around, thank you, Sam, for giving us that thing of beauty we just went through together. So that was Indie Understudy for today. I hope you had fun with me. I had a really good time. I think we came up with two very interesting stories. I'll post pictures of our dear Orizuru, our half-formed thing, and I'll type all of this one out in our Discord in case you want to read over it. Um, and yeah, uh, join us on Monday for the first edition of our book club. And next Friday should be the return of our Pathfinder campaign. And you'll see me sometime, how the show works. The show is just here to cover the spots when the main campaigns can't make it. But I look forward to seeing you soon. Um, Thanks everyone for joining, and have a good night and an amazing weekend.